Hiya! This is Druid Cat. Welcome to my course. Today we're creating something absolutely mind-blowing. Your own AI influencer using the latest 1.2.2 model. This is a significant improvement with details and realism compared to my previous tutorial.
Hi everyone, I'm Stella, and I'm so excited to invite you to Druid Cat's amazing course. You're going to learn how to create AI influencers just like me.
I've spent months developing a complete system with over 40 custom comfy UI workflows that actually work. No more missing nodes, no more broken installations. Everything downloads automatically whether you're on Windows or Runpod. Every video workflow includes frame interpolation and upscaling, so you get professional quality right from the start. The AI landscape has exploded this month, and I've been testing everything. We're moving away from the old Flux pipeline to something much more powerful. Today, we'll test the Qwen model, create stunning images with 1.2.2, rotate our model through different prompts, change her clothes and hairstyles smoothly, and then train a custom LoRA of our model to keep her consistent. Now here's the deal. I've moved my scripts to Gumroad because Patreon is having payment issues. Visa and MasterCard are blocking transactions for AI content creators. It's the same censorship wave that hit Steam games. So Gumroad is now your best option. It's a one-time payment for the entire collection, and I'll keep updating it. I'm also still updating Patreon, so current members will be still supported. This course requires access to these materials, so I highly encourage you to support the channel to unlock full access. Fun fact: what's a cat's superpower? Teleporting to the kitchen before the pouch even hits the bowl. Step 1. Let's get started with Runpod. I always recommend cloud computing because graphics cards keep changing. We had 4090, now there's 5090, and 6090 is coming soon. Runpod is perfect because they work with all the latest AI cards and have the complete open source palette that's constantly updated. Before investing in expensive hardware, you can test everything and learn a lot on the cloud. First, log into your Runpod account. We need to set up persistent storage. This is crucial. Click on the storage option in the left menu. This gives us a hard drive where all our data stays permanently. I recommend starting with my scripts for the best comfy UI setup. Everything will be updated and self-installing. The first installation takes time, but then you'll have smooth, efficient work with unlimited GPU access. You only pay for pod usage time. 2 to 3 hours daily isn't expensive. There's also a small monthly storage cost, but it's worth it. My scripts take about 900 gigabytes total, but you don't need everything. They're modular. For basic tools, 550 gigabytes is enough. I recommend the EUR is one server because it has RTX 5090 and 4090 GPUs. L40 and A100 are also useful. Click Create Network Volume. When ready, then click Deploy Pod with Volume. Remember to have the disk connected in the top menu. Many people complain that their pod opens with no data or workflows even after installing scripts. This happens because they didn't connect the disk. Sometimes Runpod doesn't show the disk as connected by default. You need to select it from the list. Use Secure Cloud, not Community Cloud, because only Secure Cloud supports disk connection. Since I added support for 5090, we can use the most efficient, fastest option. For just installing scripts, which can take a few hours, you could use RTX A4000 to save money, then switch to a stronger card later. Among my latest scripts, you'll find Runpod templates with 5090 support. Download the template from my Gumroad. When ready, click Deploy on Demand. Select the cloud, remember the disk is connected, choose your pod, change the template, and deploy. If you get errors like Pull image too many requests. Don't worry. Just terminate the pod and try again with a different one. Step 2. When your pod is ready, click Connect. 2 ports will open, 3020 for Comfy UI and Jupyter Notebook for file management. Start with Jupyter Notebook. This is where we'll load our Druid Cat scripts. First, drag and drop the Druid Cat scripts from my Gumroad into the Comfy UI folder. Right-click and select Extract Archive to unzip the folder. This is much easier than before. Inside the Druid Cat scripts folder, you'll see all the workflows we can install. For today, we only need a few: Flux context, Flux upscalers, and one 2.2 video image. The Qwen scripts will be also available by the time this video is released. Short guide on how to install scripts also locally on Windows system. Navigate to your Druid Cat scripts folder, mark the path at the top of the File Explorer, type cmd and press Enter to open the command prompt in that location. Then, use the commands shown below in the terminal. Prerequisites for Windows. Before installing the scripts, you need Python and Git installed on your system. Download Python from python.org, and during installation, make sure to check Add Python to Path. This is crucial for the scripts to work. Also install Git from getscm.com with default settings. These are required before running any installation commands. Important. If you're on Windows, you'll use the Install Dependencies Windows.ps1 script first. Windows users need to run PowerShell with ExecutionPolicy Bypass because Windows blocks scripts by default for security reasons. I've put the exact commands in the description and PDF files. Ask ChatGPT if you need help. It's very simple. Just open PowerShell in the right path and use the ExecutionPolicy Bypass command. You can also try right-clicking and selecting Run in PowerShell, but this doesn't always work. We go back on Runpod. Let's start with one 2.2 video image script. In Jupyter Notebook, go to the one 2.2 video image folder, click Terminal and type bash install.sh. The script will automatically copy workflows to the proper folder and download all required models. This takes time, so you can grab a coffee. Remember to monitor your storage space. You can see your volume usage percentage. If you reach 100%, go to Storage Settings and increase the space. Once everything is installed, we'll create our influencer using the same steps as before. We'll also test the newest model. In my opinion, 2.1 text-to-image is better for aesthetics. It's more cinematic and has better styling. I'll stick with 2.2 despite Qwen being supposedly better. Qwen is a great model with many capabilities, so I strongly recommend experimenting with it too. Step 3. Now let's test the Qwen model. Go to port 3020 for Comfy UI. Click the Browse Templates button in the upper left corner, then go to Image and find the Qwen model. We'll use the default workflow first to test it. When you load the workflow, you might see Missing Models errors. Don't worry, this is very simple to fix. Look at which models are missing and copy the URL. Click Copy URL, then go to Jupyter Notebook. Navigate to Comfy UI/models and start with VAE. Paste the command, get and copy the URL. Press Enter. The model will download automatically. Do the same for text encoders. Open a new terminal and paste the wget command. Repeat for all missing models. Don't forget to refresh the page after downloading models. I've written some prompts for a red-haired model that we'll create from head to toe. We're generating on RTX 5090, so it should be fast. But Qwen is heavy, so loading into memory will take a moment. When you see the green frame around the node, that means it's loading the model into VRAM. RTX 5090 has 32 gigabytes of RAM, so it takes time initially, but then you can generate more images. You can generate 4 images and do cherry picking. Choose the best one. We'll follow the same plan as before. Create a full body model, then create a close-up of the face, then do rotation around the model, then face rotation, change clothes, and create variations. But this time, we'll do it faster using Flux context instead of in-painting. Step 4. We have our first generation from the Qwen model. The prompt is good. We get a full body image, everything is well described, but the image quality itself isn't great. It's not the aesthetic we were looking for. It followed the prompt. Well, but the quality is very debatable. Personally, I don't really like Qwen that much. It depends on what you use it for. It's like ChatGPT but open source. I personally recommend 2.2, which is available in my scripts. Step 5. While using this workflow, don't forget to go through every step. We can use some lower settings, change things here. For example, we can lower the details a bit, we don't need so much. We can go to 0.4. So, keep in mind to tweak the LoRA settings a little and go step by step through the prompt. What's important is the resolution. Maybe we'll keep it square 1280 by 1280 in both scenarios. Let's start and see what we can get from this. Like always, we can cherry pick our favorite image from many. It is a very fun process. Step 6. After a moment, we can see that our model looks much better in full body on 2.2 than it was earlier on Qwen. So this model is definitely more realistic for image generation. Everything matches right away. There are 5 fingers, good body proportions. We can work with this. Of course, we can still try to generate more photos, experiment. But I think Stella, in her current form, is sufficient for our video. So let's take her and we'll enlarge her, save her to the hard drive as our initial graphic. Next, when we have our Stella, we'll go to Flux Upscale. How to load this Flux Upscale? Go to Workflows and enter Flux Upscale. What's important here? The important thing is that recently a new model for Flux came out. FLUX.1 Krea. We can replace this model here. Only this model requires accepting a license, so we go to FLUX.1 Krea, log into our HuggingFace account, and accept the Krea license that will use it. Only then can we download it. Click on Files and Versions. Now some magic will happen here. We're interested in this file. FLUX.1 Krea dev. Click on it, copy the download link, and paste it here. We also need a token. Go to your account settings, access tokens, create a new token. Token name doesn't matter. Check all the first things, go down, and click Create Token. Now this token. Don't share your token publicly. You can paste this token into ChatGPT-2. Go to ChatGPT, paste the Krea download link, paste your token, and write, "Please create wget command with link and HuggingFace token." Accept it, and in a moment we'll get a link. Go to Jupyter Notebook, go to Models/Diffusion Models, open terminal, and paste our link. Only then will the model start downloading. FLUX.1 Krea. This is basically how you can deal with HuggingFace authorization downloads. You can also use Flux Krea in other Flux workflows. Change to Flux Krea in any load diffusion model node. Now we return to the Flux Upscale workflow, and in the load diffusion model node, we select Flux Krea from the list. That's it. Now we can upscale our image with the newer Flux Krea model. We import our Stella, change the denoise parameter. Let's say we want to change her quite a lot, so I set it to 0.56, which means Flux Krea will affect the image by 56%. We also add detail amount, but don't overdo it, because then we'll have skin issues, the impression of unhealthy skin. After a moment when it generates, of course it's wrongly named here, but this is Stella, we can name her here, and in a moment we'll have a comparison. There's before, there's after. and much more realism has been added. For our Stella, although we lost a bit of the original look, the face changed a bit too much compared to the original, so we can reduce the denoise a bit. It's good to make mistakes to show how this parameter affects everything. We can also reduce the details a bit, so we can set denoise to 0.38. That's how much power will change our image. Detail amount can be set to 0.44, so it doesn't add too many details but adds some realism to the upscaling. When we have our model replaced with FLUX.1 Krea, we can also do this more creatively than in the previous tutorial. At this point, I want to change the face a bit more, because I'm not completely satisfied with it. What can we do here? I set denoise quite a lot, to 0.56. Then it will change our model's appearance by almost half. Also, the more denoise we add here, the better to set less detail amount. What did I change here? Here is Florence to run. This is a model that automatically adds captions to our image. But this doesn't work in this workflow, so I added 2 clip text encode prompt nodes. I added this node. What's important here, we need to connect it to the CLIP loader. So we connect CLIP to clip so it reads, and conditioning to the same position. So it reads the positive prompt. And then we'll have the prompt we want instead of this auto-captioning. This auto-captioning is created only for upscaling that should exactly reflect what's in the image, because the Florence model simply analyzes the content of our image. But here we can give a custom prompt. So I wanted something different. I wanted to approach this more creatively. So we have more image variations of our model to choose from. Thanks to this, we can choose something. We might find the one closest to the truth, the one that will be closest to the vision that was supposed to be here. So we'll choose a model to work with further on the next steps. This is how you can creatively approach upscaling. And we can already see from the results that quality and realism has been much more enhanced in these upcoming photos. This is exactly what it's about. Testing different configurations this way and creating something we'll be satisfied with. So, I encourage you to experiment on your own. You'll definitely create a better model than me. Ready influencer and close-up. When we have our chosen image, we can crop a close-up in an application like Photoshop. Of course, it's best to keep it square and we'll cut a close-up shot. Then, as in the previous video, we'll do upscaling again to enhance details and increase quality even more. We do upscaling again for the close-up shot, and this way our influencer is ready. We need 2 images, one full body and one close-up with a good quality. Step 7. Recently I also explained that this dataset, these images, rotations and various smiles and so on, can also be done on Kling. However, 2.2 is already so good, the quality is comparable to Kling, so you can do it in 2 ways. On 1, it takes a bit longer. It depends on who is impatient. You can do it open source, or if time matters, Kling 2.1 will also do it very well. We can do rotations in several ways. We can go to workflows, and I recently explained 2 ways. We can use 2.2 image to video fast workflow. We can try this one to see how it works. And here, of course, we drag our Stella here. We go to ChatGPT, paste the image, and this time, unlike the previous video, we can try to rotate her simply with a prompt. We don't need 360 rotation LoRA. We'll ask ChatGPT for a prompt and see what it gives us. We paste this prompt. Remember about resolution. It should be reasonable, maybe square. For example, 1024 by 1024. And one more thing to pay attention to in this workflow. In this fast workflow, we have frame interpolation and upscaling bar model. Everything will be in better quality. And what we can pay attention to is that if we're using RTX 4090, we'll probably get this bug. Sage attention. Here it says, Disable Model Patch Torch Setting. Knows if you got PyTorch 2.7 bug. This is very simple. Disable problematic node by selecting it and press Ctrl+B. Let's continue with generation. After a few minutes we will get results. Similarly, we perform animations as in the last video for close-up shots. I recommend 360 rotations, but I also personally like, for example, hair fixing. Hair fixing is a very photographic shot that can appear multiple times, and something more interesting with hands. It's worth making a LoRA that will stand out from the competition. I observe on other Instagram accounts, for example, that they make these models. They have 8,000 likes, but she has 100 photos on each one, and on each one she has the same facial expression. That's amateur. Now, if we're going for professionalism, we'll put in a bit more work, more variations, but we'll definitely be more satisfied with the results later. When we have ready videos from the WAN 2.2 model, we do exactly the same as in the previous video. MP4 video files can be opened directly in Chrome. In Chrome, when we right-click, we have the Save Video Frame As option. And we do exactly the same as I explained in the previous course. We cut different frames from different positions into a folder we choose. We select every few seconds and do this for both close-up shots and long shots, where we can choose different things, so that our data set is quite diverse. Different expectations, different rotations, different expressions. Also, you don't need to do it too many, roughly full body rotated in different directions, 10 to 15 times, as well as close-up shots. When we have our influencer dataset, as in the last video, we need to diversify it a bit. We'll give her more hairstyles, change her clothes a bit. To do this, we'll go to Jupyter Notebook, to the Comfy UI folder. Here are our Druid Cat scripts, and here we'll go to Flux Context, and we'll install the Flux Context package. Command bash install.sh, and of course, we'll have to wait a moment for all models to install. With its help, we'll change clothes, hairstyles quite quickly, and prepare our dataset for training. So we can do it this way, or we'll also try Flux Context Max, which costs Comfy UI credits because it releases images of nice quality and good resolution right away, saving us some time. To do this, click on Settings in the lower left corner and select User, then Credits. We can log in and load credits. $5 is enough. 8 cents per image to create such an influencer is completely sufficient. We can use Flux Context Dev if we want a completely free option. We have a workflow that will also allow us to do this quickly here. All steps are described in detail, and what this workflow does is described. And at the very end, we have the result. Only the disadvantage of this workflow is that Flux Context Dev will lower our quality. We'll have a fairly low quality photo again, and we'll have to upscale it again. We might also lose the original look. Therefore, at this point, we can either do in-painting as I showed in the last video, or we can do it using Flux Context Max. Go to the upper left corner, click Browse Templates. If we're already logged in, go to Image API, select Flux Context Max, and here too, we'll select our model. We can rewrite the same prompts from the previous workflow, and we can do it much faster. In the case of a long shot, the quality still isn't perfect. We have a full body shot here. We might still need to upscale them a bit.
I can't wait to see how I turn out.
By the time this video was being edited, a new Comfy UI update had been released, introducing the Qwen image editing workflow. This is a great free option to diversify our model dataset. Let's jump into Comfy UI. In the top left menu, go to Browse Templates, then navigate to Image and select Qwen Edit Image. A board with missing models will appear, but as we learned earlier in the video, We already know how to handle that. After downloading the missing models, simply go to Manager Update, restart and refresh Comfy UI, and you're good to go. Next, we can enable Lightning LoRA, which speeds up generation significantly. Just select the disabled node and press Ctrl+B. Now, we need to adjust the steps for this 4-step LoRA to work. Head to the note under the case sampler node and update the steps and CFG according to the instructions there. Finally, enter your prompt, for example, changing Stella's dress to a different one, and hit Run. After a moment, the result is ready. You'll immediately notice that the output resolution is higher than with Flux Context Dev. We can change clothes, hairstyle, and generally this way, we should somewhat change our dataset prepared for LoRA training. Before we train our influencer, we need to do some captioning. My scripts come to the rescue, in which I placed Florence to image caption. A very simple and pleasant program in which we can quickly and easily install scripts locally on the computer. What needs to be done? We go in and unpack Florence to image caption from my scripts. The link is in the description. Then we type here in the CMD path to open the terminal. When we already have the terminal open, we type first the command in PowerShell in Windows, pip install requirements. This will install all the necessary dependencies to run Florence to caption. Then the second command we'll type will be pythonapp.py. We type this second command, and we wait. The model will now download everything needed. And when it installs what's needed, a link will appear. Alternative method, ChatGPT transcription. You can also do transcription using ChatGPT as an alternative method. Upload all your image files to ChatGPT and ask it to create a zip file with captions. Request the files to be named Stella.1, Stella.2, etc. Your dataset files must be named the same way, Stella.1, Stella.2, and so on. This ensures proper matching between your images and their captions for LoRA training. This method is particularly useful if you prefer a more conversational approach, or if you want to get creative with your captions. ChatGPT can understand context and create more natural descriptions that might work better for your specific influencer style.
I'm getting so excited about my training. This is going to make me even more amazing.
Step 8. Now we have our prepared dataset with captioning. Each image has its corresponding caption text file that describes the image. This prepared dataset is what we'll use for training our LoRA. Since in previous episodes I suggested FLUX.1, which had automatic captioning built in today's episode we'll use one training from Ostris AI Tools, which unfortunately doesn't have this option built in, but there's also a faster alternative for impatient users or those working on Mac where Florence image captioning doesn't work. So don't worry, we'll handle this. Next, we go back to Runpod and select Change Template. We type AI Toolkit. We'll see such a toolkit from Ostris. AI Toolkit, Ostris UI Official. We select this template. We can take the training template on Community Cloud. Community Cloud doesn't connect to disk, but it offers cheaper GPUs, more choice, and generally we use Community Cloud for single uses like this training where we don't need to save data, particularly after finishing use of this template. So we'll select L40S for training. We'll select our Ostris template. We'll select Ostris AI Toolkit template. It will serve to train on the one model. And now, what remains for us? As usual in such moments, we need to wait a moment, and when this template loads, we'll start creating our things. We'll start training our Stella on the one model, and I'll discuss the quick configuration of how to set up such training. When AI Toolkit loads, click Connect, select this port. Now, the default password is simply password. Where is this password? This password can be found here. Click Edit under Environment Variables. AI Toolkit authorization and password is here, so we go back to our AI Toolkit. Click Dataset, New Dataset. Of course, this is it. Click on it and go back to our naming. We name our dataset after our influencer. It can be Stella. We add by drag and drop all the files we have. The files have been added. Click New Job. We name the training Stella. Trigger word something simple, a unique word. Model architecture, we select 2.1.14b. We select this one. LoRA rank we can increase to 48 or leave 32. It's number of details trained, but more not always means better. It's at the cost of creativity. Steps, I think 250 will be enough for us, and we leave everything here. We select our dataset. We select resolution. We can stay with 1024, or we can set these two resolutions in sample configuration. We change number of frames to 1. These are samples that will be created for us after 250 steps. Skip first frame, we don't need this here. We basically remove all these prompts because we'll stay with just 1, or we can take prompts from our dataset. We can place her in some scenario, for example in a cafe. Thanks to this, we'll monitor how every 250 steps, how the progress of our trained influencer looks. We leave all remaining settings as they are. I'm still thinking about LoRA rank. This is how many details will be remembered, and we can stay at 32. After longer consideration, I think 32 will also be fine. And when we have this, we click Start Job, and that's everything. Now we have to wait very long until everything starts nicely, and as we can, now the model is downloading. Now there's such a trick how we can do it even faster if someone had little time, even simpler if they didn't want auto-captioning. Available on Replicate AI Tools is available on Replicate, link I'll provide in the video description. This is Ostris.1 LoRA Trainer, and you can also quickly train LoRA on one. It works the same way. Here we add our zip file with images. We can pack into zip file. We also provide trigger word, and here we have auto-captioning option. So we don't have to do this with Florence to captions. We can check this in auto-captioning option. And even add prefix with our trigger word here automatically. We can also increase steps, learning rate, everything, and basically then we can start training LoRA right away. This is a faster method, a bit more expensive, but definitely much faster and more convenient. So just in case, I recommend this alternative. And we'll train this traditionally on the Runpod platform using our pod. And now, such training can take 2, even up to 3 hours on this L40S, although it's a fast GPU card. And we'll see when this training ends, we'll see the result. Step 9. Perfect. Our LoRA training is complete. Now we get to download our masterpiece, the trained LoRA file. Look on the right side of the screen, you'll see your file ready for download. The cool thing is, you get versions saved every 250 steps, so you can pick the best one. I recommend downloading the final version. That's your most trained model. The file is about 300 megabytes, so it'll take a moment to download. Once it's on your computer, we need to move it to our Runpod storage. Go back to Jupyter Notebook, navigate to comfyui/models/LoRa's, and simply drag and drop your Stella LoRA file there. Now the fun part begins, testing our creation. We're going to see how our trained Stella performs. We'll use the same 2.2 text-to-image workflow we used before, but this time we'll add our custom LoRA. Here's the trick. We need to load our LoRA into the workflow. Look for the LoRA loader node and select our Stella Safe Tensors file. But here's the important part. We need to be smart about the settings. Realism boost can be useful, but keep it low, around 30%. Too much strength can make our AI influencer look inconsistent. We want Stella to look like Stella, not a mix of different people. For the prompts, we can keep the default negative prompts, but we definitely need to add our trigger word to the positive prompts. Remember that unique word we chose during training. That's what makes Stella appear consistently. Here's a pro tip. Since WAN 2.2 uses two models at once, set the noise seed to 0 and control after generate to fixed. This helps keep our influencer consistent across different generations. Now we wait and see the magic happen. The first few images might take a moment to generate. Some will be amazing, some might need adjustment. That's totally normal. We're doing what's called cherry picking. Look at these results. Some are absolutely stunning. Stella's face is consistent, the expressions are natural, and the quality is incredible. Sure, not every image is perfect, but that's the beauty of AI generation. We get to choose the best ones. The key is to experiment with different prompts. Try Stella in a cafe, Stella with ponytail, Stella smiling. You'll see how versatile our trained model is. Each prompt gives us a slightly different version while keeping Stella's core appearance consistent. What we've accomplished here is pretty amazing. We've created a custom AI influencer that can generate consistent, high-quality images across different scenarios. The LoRA training captured Stella's unique features, expressions, and style. Bonus. As a special bonus for all of you amazing viewers, I'm sharing the Stella LoRA for free on Civitai. It's my way of saying thank you for your incredible support and for being part of this journey. Remember, you can get my scripts on Gumroad. It's a one-time payment for the entire collection, and I keep updating it regularly. The scripts contain everything you need, all the workflows, models, and custom nodes to create your own AI influencers and content from previous videos. What's next? Well, we've barely scratched the surface. In future episodes, we'll explore animating these images, creating talking videos, making viral TikToks, and so much more. The possibilities are endless with AI influencers. For now, you have everything you need to create your own Stella. Experiment, have fun, and don't be afraid to try different approaches. Every creator develops their own style and techniques. See you soon. Hey!
Thank you all for joining us on this amazing journey. I can't wait to see what incredible AI influencers you'll create. Don't forget to subscribe to Druid Cat's channel and grab those scripts on Gumroad. They're absolutely worth it.